Wall Street analysts are telling investors, hey, take a look at this shiny thing. It's called Disney. It's just too bad, so sad, that we have the stats, and we'll show you where you would be at if you purchased Disney 5 years ago versus today. And even worse, what if instead you invested in just, I don't know, the S&P 500, or even a tech stock like NVIDIA? Well, it's a beautiful day, and ladies and gentlemen, we're happy to come your way. The sun is smiling on somewhere sunny USA, and it's because you're listening to what we are here to do. Let's pay it forward, folks, by telling you what's going on with the House of Mouse. No financial advice being given, but we are here to, put a little sunlight like we have on them. As we do so, click the like button, drop a comment down below, and let's go, 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 go. We've got stats you need to know. They're back at it again. The Wall Street analysts, the pundits, are telling you, hey, look at there. Look at this Disney. This Disney's really interesting. Maybe you want some Disney? You want some Disney? How about some Disney? Folks, I'm just amazed they continue to do this, but they do, and we're going to show you the real numbers. Hang tight. No financial advice is going to be given, even though we're reading from Yahoo Finance. Folks, find an accredited and specialized person in this area, in your area, to help you with any kind of financial needs you need. We're not the kind of people you want to listen to on this sort of thing, but we'll walk you through what we see. Disney rewards investors in 2026. Should you buy Disney stock now? We'll go ask Mexican Iron Man how that's going. Don Alcott has this. For better or worse, Disney is one of those companies that people keep their eyes on. What will be Disney's next big media move? How will the next MCU movie net at the box office? How expensive will the park tickets get? And what is Disney stock gonna do? After suspending dividends on its stock in 2020, the company resumed paying a modest dividend in January 2024 and has gradually increased it since. In late 2025, Disney announced an increased annual dividend of $1.50 for 2026, paid out in 2 installments of 75 cents. I'm reading that with a straight face and not laughing. Folks, if you own a very expensive piece of Disney stock, you got 2 payments of 75 cents. I congratulate you. Here we go. They're talking about the dividend increase and blah, 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 blah. Here is what they're saying from Dean Lucan, CEO of private investment firm Cardiff. I don't spend a lot of time worrying about their dividend. I'm sure that's going to be fine because Disney still makes plenty of money. Dion Strickland, PhD financial advisor at Scholar Advising, pointed out that dividends aren't as important as the signals they send to investors regarding the company's strength. Quote, companies that pay dividends are signaling their quality, he said. If you increase your dividends, you are a strong or good firm because the weaker firm can't mimic that. A weaker firm can't sustain that dividend. With this in mind, it's important to consider factors besides dividends as you determine whether Disney is a good investment for your portfolio in 2026. And it goes on to talk about it. David Horry says Disney is a solid company, pointing out that the entertainment sector of the U.S. GDP is roughly $1 trillion per year, and Disney is a major player in that. The company has made dramatic improvements to its streaming services, blah, 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 blah. Lucan says, obviously, Disney has some amazing franchises and great theme parks. It's a very well-run company, very well. Ladies and gentlemen, these kinds of articles, they frustrate me a wee bit, and I'll show you why. This is the Disney stock. This is what you should start with in every article that you cover Disney. That number right there. Negative 34.37%. That should be how you start every single article on Disney stock. And the reason that you should do that, ladies and gentlemen, is because over the last 5 years, Walt Disney Company has performed in such a way that you lost money. That rise you see on the left side, the Bob Chapek years. I know we're supposed to hate the guy, but he was Disney's CEO, and during that time, that's when the stock was up there. You see where we are now. Now, what if you had just invested in the S&P 500, just generally, right? Just flat out the S&P 500. We're not talking about Tesla. We're not talking about Netflix. Just every big company, the top 500 companies in the market, if you just invested in that, just the generic S&P 500, last 5 years, you're up 84.55%. Again, that's the average market result. That's the Disney result. And now they're telling you, oh yeah, get in. You're going to love it. And they've been saying this year after year. Panel, I know we can't weigh in on what people should do with their finances. We're not going to. But I find it incredibly disingenuous, and we've been covering this for years. I get so weary of these articles telling people, oh, Disney's a great company. Oh, you definitely trust in Disney. It's like, you all don't point out the one thing that if you just placed it at the top of the article, it would say everything an investor needs to know. I don't care about your little dinky 3/4, 75 cents dividend twice a year, right? I can't buy an ice cream cone with 75 cents. Yet culture, this is the way the media play the game, and they don't say, hey, this company's down 33% in 5 years. Culture, how many people do you think are misled? And maybe they're just novice investors who they like the word Disney. It makes them feel good. They remember back to their childhoods, and they don't actually look at the stats. And maybe that's on them. But maybe, too, there's something to blame here on the media.
Well, it could be worse. I mean, it has been worse in recent memory as far as what the stock value is for Disney. The last I checked this morning, they were at $112 a share. So it could be far, far worse. It has been. But the problem is there has not been the growth as you described compared to like something like the A&P. The S&P. I said A&P. The S&P. Although, Disney has not reflected well for entertainment trends over the course of the last 5 years. And it was at its highest level ever when they had different leadership. Had they not brought back Bob Iger, I wonder where they would be. Would they still be topping $200 a share under previous leadership? Or, at least would they not have run-ins with, the bottom end or closer to reality? Because in all actuality, this company is not worth even the market cap it has now. It's worth about $85 a share. And it's funny if you consider and comparatively consider it against something like, let's say, Warner Brothers Discovery or Paramount Skydance or anything else. And when you look at their dollars per share and market cap, or even Comcast, you start to recognize that not only is Disney overvalued, especially with its, brand identity, it's overvalued for its earnings. If I were an investor, I would be looking at this very tightly and find something safer to put my money in. Index funds might be better. I mean, you actually mentioned that. So I think that a lot of people are buying a brand name that they had a good feeling about. I mean, that's unfortunately where I've been coming from for too many of recent years with any positive thoughts I've had about Disney. But over the course of the last, let's say decade, Disney has dwindled across the board. They've become very anti-American and very global focused, and really have led the way towards a dynamic destruction of the culture of the American society and American way of life. And they used to be a very American company.
Here's a great little mental activity. Again, no advice. We're going to theory craft for a minute. 5 years ago, let's say somebody, we're going to name him Mike for no particular reason. Maybe he's a Mexican Mike, and I don't know, maybe he LARPs as a superhero sometimes. Let's say that he bought a whole lot of Disney stock 5 years ago. He now has 34% of that money gone. Okay? Just gone. And that's really hard to do because inflation means that the stock should have just went up, right? Because we've inflated what? Lauren, how much have we inflated over the last 5 years? Maybe 15%? 16%? Just like
in general goods and services?
In the value of the dollar.
I don't think it was quite that much, but it has been a significant amount. I was thinking it was closer to 12.
Which would, what we mean by that. So if it's 12, let's go with that. If it's 12, then just by virtue of the fact that the value of the dollar decreased, the stock value should increase inversely.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So, but let's say that somehow you still managed to hold on to Disney for 5 years and you drop 34%. And then we're going to have another person. We're going to name him just randomly Culture. I know it's not a common name, but Culture, as opposed to Mexican Iron Man, Mike, as opposed to Mike, he invested in NVIDIA 5 years ago. Whereas Mike is down 34%. Culture over the last 5 years is up 1,335%.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So you all go read your little articles about whether you should invest in Disney. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Wiz, what you got on this one? You going to buy some Disney stock today?
Yeah. Sure thing. The access media is going to do what the access media does, and that's defend the people that, well, either own them or pay them to advertise for them. There is no such thing as the free press anymore.
They're trying. I think they want to save the stock before Bob Iger goes out. They're going to try to get as close as they can to where, yeah.
It's all about trying desperately to save face for the exiting leadership and the new leadership taking over. And that's happening in a couple of places. It's not just with Bob. Of course, we've got Kathleen Kennedy leaving Lucasfilm. We've got, the leadership changing in different places. But no. It's things are just peachy keen whenever you ask the access media journalists about how the corporations are doing.
Can I ask everybody here a question? Because I consider all of you relatively intelligent men. And
I appreciate that culture. I sometimes try to be relatively intelligent.
Except for that one guy.
Going into 2020, do you remember the enormous from 2016 to 2020 corporate drain that happened? All the CEOs were marching in a line to retirement. Didn't it almost seem like, wow, what is happening right now? Why are all these major leaders getting out? What's coming? What's happening? What do we not see? Well, what we didn't see was the massive change that they were going to try to force globally of a massive shift in how energy was, provided to all of us. They were making a major push for maybe green energy, but they were trying to get us away from cheap energy, oil. And that seemed to coincide with the fact that inflation, and why we got to 25%, because Pro was 100% right, between 2020 and 2024, we had 25% cumulative inflation. And that all happened because energy prices pushed all of everything much, much higher. They like to point towards the global crisis and that event that took the better part of a year to resolve around the globe, to be fair, but that was just merely a control grab by governments. But they tried to wrest the future away from everybody and put it in the hands of a few. And I believe they selectively placed people in positions of leadership that they thought that they could rely on to help continue that process going forward, which is why you had all these leadership changes. So do you not see that kind of seemed to have happened with Disney, every other entertainment enterprise, every single thing that happened after that? Because the cascading effect was what? You collapsed everything inward. You had companies buying other companies. You had entire industries on the verge of failure, whether it be the insurance industry or the construction industry or banks even. The more we get into that, the more we see consolidation. It's almost. I know it sounds conspiratorial, but what do you gentlemen think about the idea that this was done collectively with motivation?
Marv, I'm trying not to hog the spotlight here. What do you guys think about that?
I'm sorry, Culture. Could you repeat the last part of that question?
Yeah, who's not to say that this was done collectively by a particular group of people to force not just consolidation, but obviously all of the after effects that we're suffering from now?
You mean like...
not to be conspiratorial, just to suggest.
An economic forum, perhaps? An economic forum that exists?
I'm just saying there was a collective effort to unify power under very few locations.
Who are the shareholders? And who are the majority shareholders? And who are those people? And who is the majority shareholders of those majority shareholders? And I think we're going to refrain from using all the names, but Guys, go look into that. Go
Marv.
look into who actually owns majority shares in Disney and
Marv.
perhaps even your local food stores.
Marv, I think what our lengthened beard bros are saying here is that they believe Disney and its decline is a black stone's throw away, not the grill manufacturer, but rocky waters they are on as a choice of corporate overlords. Marv, what do you say? Culture, you listen. That was listen. You made even my questions seem brief.
So. I think somebody has to guard that van. That's what happens.
Oh, I get it too.
Look, and I think there was a salvo fired at a particular a stone with a stone's throw. When it comes to corporations purchasing homes, just the other day, if you saw that news.
But I like that the theme of today's show is Pro asks Marvin question and everyone else answers it.
I'm waiting for you to say something.
Well, after Culture's 4-minute question, I was like, we got to save Marvin. What do you do with that 4-minute question that came your way? Marvin, wrap us up. What do you say about Disney stock? No financial advice, but a lot of people lost a lot of money buying into this company, and they brought in Bob Iger to save them, and it's the opposite.
There is a concentrated effort, and there will be throughout this entire year, to make Bob Iger look good. We saw it with that Wall Street Journal situation where they're pinning all of the Imagineering woes on Bob Chapek, and once again trying to remind us that Bob Chapek is the devil and Bob Iger is the savior. And one of the ways that they can talk about how great Bob Iger is the stock. If the stock is doing well, Bob Iger is doing well. And it is all a concentrated effort to protect the legacy of Bob Iger, because he is a failure, he is a fraud, he is Flint Heart Glomgold in human form, and everyone is trying to make you forget that or just not see it in the first place.
I know you want more. You want more of the Pro Channel, folks, but we've got to head out the door for this video. But fret not yet, for more content is yet on the way. 3 times a day, thrice is nice. Right here on the Pro Channel. Oh, what's that you say? You want more than that? Fine, we'll do 4 videos. Well, yeah, that's happening. Folks, as you get ready to go, consider clicking the like button for us. It is a huge help. Also, like, share, subscribe, and click it to the algorithms. It is the notification bell. We would also love it if you could drop on down and give us a comment. We love hearing from you. And although we can't respond to every single comment, we often are reading them indeed. Folks, we would encourage you to consider subscribing to our partner channels, that Park Place, that Game Place, and that Pod Place. We love them all. We think you might too. Until the next time we have the joy of joining with you, keep learning, keep growing, and keep having fun.